All right, so we are coming up on the end of August, which means it is time for me to drop my most worn fragrances for the month of August. Now, what this video is just me sharing with you all the 5 fragrances that I tended to reach for the most often during this month. These aren't fragrances that I'm necessarily recommending to you. They're not fragrances that I'm telling you that you should run out and go buy. I'm simply just sharing with you what I seem to reach for time and time again. Before we get started though, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Those things do a lot to support what I'm doing. Starting off our list, we have one from the house of Armaf, and it is Milestone from their Clubbed in the Wheat line. This is their take on the Creed Millesime Imperial DNA. What you get with this one is a slightly salty marine style of a fragrance. You also have a bit of a fruity melon-like accord in the opening, as well as some soft florals that kind of sit behind that DNA. Overall, this one smells very fresh, but also a bit sophisticated. It's definitely one that is easy to reach for, and it is perfect for the high heat, which is why I seem to reach for it so much. The first, I would say 3/4 of August was very hot where I live. And this was a fragrance that was just extremely easy to wear during that time period. I wore it to work, I wore it to the gym. I even wore it on a few different casual outings with my girlfriend and friends. Now, something that I don't talk about often on the channel is layering, but I did layer this one pretty often with this scented oil here. I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up or not, but this is from Oil Perfumery. You can tell from how dingy the bottle looks that I have really been putting some wear into this. I've actually had this for quite some time now. I've had this same bottle for probably a few years at this point, but this is Oil Perfumery's take on the Millesime Imperial DNA as well. So what I did was to kind of give it a little extra oomph and some extra longevity, I would put the oil on certain spots of my skin and then I'd spray the fragrance on as well. And I found that just allowed the fragrance to carry on a little further throughout the day, as well as give me a really nice, beautiful scent bubble. One specific instance where this combo really worked well, my girlfriend and I went to a Titans preseason game, and I could smell this fragrance even with all the other smells that were competing with it inside that stadium. I mean, you have the smell of beer and alcohol, the smell of food, the smell of the other people around you and whatever fragrance they might be wearing, but I could definitely smell this radiating off my skin, and it smelled absolutely amazing. Performance on this one is pretty good. I do get around that 6 to 8 hour mark with it. It's also a pretty affordable scent. I can usually find this one anywhere from like $25 to $30-ish, so definitely one that does not break the bank. Beautiful fragrance, and definitely one that I found myself reaching for over and over again. Once again, this one is Clubbed in the Wheat Milestone. Next on the list is from the house of Versace, and it is Hawass. This is the original Hawass. I found this one to just be extremely versatile. It is very similar to that Paco Rabanne Invictus DNA. The main difference, I would say, is that you add a little bit of a spicy nuance to it, and then you have Hawass. Overall, I would say that it gives it a lot more character. It does make it just a little more interesting than the typical Invictus DNA, and it does come in at a much lower price point. You can usually find this around $25 to $30. I'm not sure if this video is going to come out before or after my full review of this one, but spoiler alert, if this one's coming out first, I really do enjoy this fragrance a lot, and clearly so, because it did make it onto my most worn fragrances for the month video. This is one that I wore to work, I wore it to the gym, I wore it to run errands. It just is an extremely versatile fragrance. There's really just not a situation that I feel you could not reach for this, and I definitely reach for it for a ton of scenarios. Once again, coming in at our number 4 spot, we have Hawass, the original for him. Sliding in at the number 3 spot, we have Versace Eros Energy. This one is extremely similar to the Creed Aventus DNA. Take Creed Aventus cologne, amp up the citruses, and add just a little touch of sweetness, and that's what you have with this one. I do kind of get that lemon candy vibe that some people talk about. Overall, this one is a beautiful fragrance. It is highly complimented. It has good performance. It's fairly easy to wear. I wore this one mainly on casual outings than I did anything else, but definitely is one that I could have worn to work. I could have wore it to the gym. It really is one of those fragrances that kind of boosts your confidence when you wear it. When I step out the house wearing this one, I know I smell good, and that just makes the fragrance that much easier to reach for. So I won't go on too much about this one because I'm pretty sure it's been in a few of these videos already. But once again, at our number 3 spot from the House of Versace, we have Eros Energy. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have one from the House of Afnan, and it is Tarafi Electric. This is Afnan's take on the Blue Talisman DNA. What you're getting with this one is a fruity, musky scent, but this one has a little bit of a twist where there's this kind of a soapy nuance that's lying in the background. Overall, I find that added touch of cleanliness to this one gives it a little amped up versatility. It allows me to wear this type of a DNA in a lot more settings than my other Blue Talisman clone, which is Lattafa's Art of Universe. This one is a little more subtle. It's a lot smoother. It's a little cleaner. So I find myself reaching for this one a lot. I wore this one to work. I wore it to the gym. I wore it casually. There's really just not too many scenarios where I did not feel comfortable reaching for this one. There's even, I would say, something that's slightly addictive about the scent. This is one that I'll kind of go through little periods where I reach for it once and I just can't stop, and I'll wear it like 3 or 4 days in a row. Price point on this one is pretty good. You can usually find this one around that $40 mark. I picked up my bottle for around $35. Performance is pretty good as well. This is one that I often describe as deceptively good performance. Typically when I wear it, I will kind of go a little bit anosmic to it and I'll think that it's not there anymore. And then maybe an hour or two will go by and I'll get a waft of it again. So this is one that you may feel like the performance isn't the best, but it probably is still sticking around on your skin and you just can't tell. Overall, it's very versatile. It's fun to wear. It's fresh with a little touch of sweetness, which is one of my favorite style of a fragrance. This is definitely right up my alley. So definitely one that I reach for a lot, and one that I definitely will continue to wear as long as I have a little bit of heat now that we're coming out of summer and headed into fall. Once again, from the House of Afnan, we have Tarafi Electric. Our final fragrance on the list, and my most worn fragrance for the month of August, is going to be Hawass Ice. This is one that I just recently reviewed and I have been absolutely loving this one. You take that Hawass DNA, freshen it up a little bit, add a little bit of a icy, minty style of an accord to it, and you have Hawass Ice. This one has really good performance. I typically get anywhere from like 8 to 10 hours with it, and for an affordable fragrance, that is outstanding, especially when you consider that it is a fresh and clean style of a fragrance as well. This is one that I wore to work, I wore it to the gym. There's even times that I wasn't even doing anything and I was just gonna be staying home, and I still sprayed this fragrance on just because I love the smell of it that much. I'd also like to add that this one is definitely a compliment getter. So is the original Hawass. Both of those fragrances, I got compliments the very first time that I wore them. And this one I have consistently gotten compliments since reaching for it on that first day. I think the reason that this one ended up higher than its predecessor, the Hawass original, is because that slightly fresher nature that this one carries with it makes it a little easier for me to reach for it in the high heat. And like I said, that first part of August was very hot where I live. We were getting temperatures in the 90s. Sometimes it felt like it was in the triple digits. And this was just an extremely easy to reach for fragrance during that type of weather. I think as we come out of summer and start heading into fall, I'll probably reach for the original Hawass a little more, but for those high heat days, this one was an absolute champion for me. So once again, sliding in at the number 1 spot for my most worn fragrances of August, we have Hawass Ice. That is going to be it for this video. My most worn fragrances for the month of August. This is actually my second time filming this. My microphone was having some technical difficulties, so I hope this one came out a lot better. But if you made it this far into the video, I'd like to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a comment. Let me know what you have been wearing a lot this month. Let me know what you plan on wearing now that we're heading into September, now that the fall's getting started. I'd love to know what you all are wearing. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does so much to support the channel. And until next time, peace.